Hello friends! Today we're going to make a work of art where we use primary colors and neutral colors to make our unique skin color. Now before we mix up these colors, we are going to take a pencil and our white piece of paper and we're going to trace our hand. So place your hand down in the middle of your paper and make sure your wrist is down flat on the paper as well, and spread your fingers out. Use your pencil straight up and down, not at the side like this, but straight. Start at your wrist, go slow and trace around. Okay, now I'm gonna put my name on the bottom of this, just in case I run out of time and I have to put this on the drying rack. And now I am going to try and mix up my unique skin color and paint my hand. Now we will need a couple different brushes. We will need a big thick brush and maybe even a skinny brush. We have our water dish, our sponge to wash and dry our brush, and we have our 3 primary colors and 2 neutral colors, black and white. And the interesting thing about these colors is if you have all 5 of these colors, you can make any color in the entire rainbow using just the primaries and then those 2 neutrals, black and white. Now we need a mixing plate, a paint palette, and I'm going to start with the secret formula. I'm going to show you how to make a lighter skin color, a darker skin color, and then all the shades in between. So no matter what skin color you have, everyone is going to start with a big scoop of white. So my white paint is right here, and I'm going to use my big thick brush because I need to get a really big scoop. So notice how I'm kind of scooping the paint out, and I'm going to plop it in the middle of my paint palette and then scoop all that paint off of it. Then I'm going to take that white and wash it off all the way, swirl in my cup, and then dry on my sponge. Now, how can I tell if all that paint is off of my brush? Test it on the top of my hand. If I still see some paint, then I just want to swish one more time, dry it one more time, and then I should be good to go. All right, I have a really big scoop of white. Now I'm going to take a medium scoop of yellow. So you can put it next to that one so you know that it's medium. Wash all that yellow away. I want a small scoop of red, so not as big as the yellow and the white. Wash that color away and dry my brush. And then I want the tiniest dot of black. So maybe switch to your skinny brush so you don't get too much, because you really do not want a lot of black to start, because black is so overpowering. It kind of takes over all the rest of the colors. Take your big brush again, and then I want you to swirl these colors all together. Mix the colors up by scooting them all into the middle so that you get all the colors mixed all the way. Try and stay in just a little pile. Now, once I think all the colors are mixed all the way, I don't see any colors except my one skin color, then I'm gonna test it on my hand. Now this is gonna be kind of fun because you'll get a little bit messy, but you can wipe this off at the end of class when you're done. Now that color matches me pretty well. I think maybe if I needed it to be lighter, if my skin was lighter, I would have to wash my brush off then, and I would have to add more white. So maybe I'll put another scoop of white in here. And see how when I add that white and mix it all together, it makes this color lighter. So I can test it again and see if it's right. And then what if it's too pinkish? Like I think maybe this is too pinkish for me. Wash my brush, and I'm gonna grab maybe a little bit of yellow and mix it in there. That'll make the skin tone a little bit more tannish looking. So I think that looks pretty good. That matches me pretty well. If I blended it in, ooh, that blends almost perfectly with my skin. So I'm gonna use this to now paint my hand. But what if my skin was darker than this? I would follow the formula again, but instead of adding more white like I did to make my skin lighter, I would add more black. I'm gonna start the formula again from the beginning to make a darker skin color. I'm gonna get a big glob of white, medium yellow, little red, and then black. But because I'm making my skin color darker, maybe I'll take a little bit more black than I did in the beginning. Let's mix these together and see what it creates. Ooh, that looks like a more tannish skin color. It still looks kind of too grayish though. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow. Now again, this is not an exact science. It's kind of like an experiment. You have to keep trying different colors. So that looks pretty good. That looks like a nice tannish skin color. If your skin is darker, you could definitely use this color. And if you need to be even darker, add more black. See how it looks more tannish? All right, so I'm gonna go back and paint my hand now with that color that I had from the beginning, that lightish pinkish color that I thought matched my skin pretty well. And I'm gonna paint my hand. Now here's a trick. If your paint is running out and you really just don't have enough to finish your hand, dip your brush in the water and put a little bit of water in there. It'll smooth out the paint a little bit so that you have a little bit more paint to work with. Sometimes the paint dries very fast on your mixing plate and you just need to loosen it up with some water, some clean, fresh water. All right, I finished painting my hand. I'm gonna put this to the side of my table to dry, and now I'm gonna paint my background. So I would like in my background to paint a picture of a heart because I want to show the idea that I love my unique skin color. So I'm going to take a pencil and just draw a really big heart. You don't have to draw a heart. You can draw something different in your background. It's up to you. I'm going to use my brush now to paint my heart. Now, what if I wanted to use a color that I don't have on my mixing plate? Like maybe I wanted my heart to be pink instead of red. Maybe I could use my mixing plate to mix up some unique colors to paint my heart. Ooh, I love that. So maybe I'll use some pink and some red in my heart. So you can definitely mix up some unique colors for your background. We learned last week how to mix up the secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. Try that. When I finish painting my heart, I'm going to paint the white space around the heart, the empty space. And I think I'm just gonna use a darker color so that the red stands out. I think I'm gonna use blue. Now I'm gonna let this dry for a second and I'm gonna go to the scissor bin and cut out my hand. I have finished cutting out my hand. I'm gonna throw away all these scraps, feed them to Mr. Recycle Bin. And then ask Mrs. Buettner for a glue bottle. And when we open our glue bottle, we twist the orange part. We shake, 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 shake the glue so it comes down to the orange tip. And we just put a little bit of glue on the edges. I like to say just a dot, not a lot. Down on the wrist and just the outside. I don't need to put a big glob in the middle. That's just a waste of glue. Now decide where I would like to put my hand. I think I'm gonna put the wrist down at the bottom and the hand is gonna go up towards the heart. Make sure the fingers are pressed down nice and neat. Now, if your background is dry, you can just take a black marker or a pencil and write your name on the bottom here. If it's not dry enough to write your name, you can always have a friend hold your paper for you while you write your name on the back of your paper. And then because this is wet, we gotta put it on the drying rack. All right, friends, I cannot wait to see your art. Let's get started.